Hello and welcome back to our study of Peninei Halacha of the teachings of Rabbi Eliezer Melamed Shlita. I hope everyone had an enjoyable Shabbos and an easy fast as the 3 weeks are upon us. 3 weeks of national mourning leading up, of course, to Tisha B'Av. Let's hope that this year Tisha B'Av is turned into a true Yom Tov. In the meantime, please continue davening for Chayalei Tzvah Ganei Yisrael for Shalom L'Chol Petzua Yisrael and the safe return of our hostages. We learn each day Le'ilei Nishmat Sarah and Daniel Shimon Arav Darom V'Shalei Shemekim Damo. And just allow me to give you the scheduling update or the preview or the reality check. And what it looks like is we have 2 chapters left or 2 sections left in this chapter in Parak Yud Aleph. And I think we're going to just leave it over there because I don't want to start a middle one and then break for a few weeks. So we'll probably have a couple of sessions this week and then we'll go on our summer hiatus. And then we will all come back refreshed, excited, and ready to learn more. And of course, you can always listen to previous episodes on your podcast platform, wherever it is that you listen, on the Podbean, where this is recorded originally, or if you're on iTunes, or if you're online, or wherever it is, you can also always look at our shul website, eitzchaimnj.org. So let's get right to it. Halacha l'maaseh b'sof zman kriya shema tefillah. Zman kriya shema nimshach ad sof shalosh shos shel hayom. So, as we mentioned, that the time for davening Shema is till the end of 3 halachic hours of the day, she'oz zmanios, she'az ad oz yeshnam anashim shekamim mishnasam. Because until then, that's when people are still waking up. V'hakori oz mekayim es hamitzvah l'krosh Shema b'zman kima uvekumecha. And if you read Shema by the 3rd hour, then you're fulfilling when the pasuk says uvekumecha. When you wake up, that's when people are getting up. And even though that most poskim, they follow the opinion of the Gra, as we discussed last time, the 2 opinions of the Vilna Gaon and the Magen Avram, and we generally embrace the later time. However, saying Kriya Shema each day is a Torah obligation, so therefore with a Torah obligation we try to be a little bit more stringent, and we'll follow the earlier opinion of the Magen Avram, because we say that when we have a doubt when it comes to a Torah obligation, we try to be strict. However, and this is probably the practice of most of us, that we follow the opinion of the Vilna Gaon outright, and there's no reason to protest. And even though the time is until the end of the 3rd hour, but if let's say it passed and you still have not yet said Kriya Shema, you could say it with brachos of Kriya Shema until the 4th hour, and you have reward as if you were just reading psukim in the Torah. Zman Tefillah Shachris Brachos Kriya Shema Nimshach Ad Sof 4 Shos. As we say, the time for davening is, and really including that in Kriya Shema B'diavad, is until 4 hours. Because this corresponds to the Tamid offering, which is brought each day, which is done until the 4th hour, through the 4th hour. And since this obligation for Shemona Esreh and Tefillah B'zmana is only midrabanan, so therefore we could take a lenient opinion, and therefore one can certainly rely on the opinion of the Vilna Gaon. Nevertheless, even though we could rely on the later opinion, we still say that we try to perform mitzvahs with alacrity. And it's reason makdim mitzvah, so therefore one should try and aspire to follow the opinion of the Magen Avram. If you're davening in a regular weekday minyan, as we do, let's say at 6:45 a.m., this certainly is not an issue. The issue comes up more on Shabbos and Yom Tov. Let's say 4 hours have passed. 4 halachic hours have passed. You haven't said Shema. You haven't said Shemoneh Esreh. As far as Shemoneh Esreh goes, it's agreed that you could certainly say Shemoneh Esreh until midday, chatzos. And even though we follow the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda in the Gemara that the time for davening Shachris is until the end of 4 hours, and we do not follow the opinion of the Chachamim that say that the time is until chatzos, L'maisa gam Rabbi Yehuda modeh. Practically speaking, Rabbi Yehuda at least admits she'im lo hispala ad sof 4 shos yochel b'di'evid l'hashlim es tfilaso ad chatzos hayom. Even Rabbi Yehuda would admit that you can make up or complete davening until chatzos. Even though you won't get the reward for davening Shemoneh Esreh or Tefillah on time, so you won't get the credit for doing it on time, but you will get the credit for davening. However, once Chatzos passes, you should not daven Shachris. Lagabe birchas Kriya Shema nechliku haposim. As far as the blessings for Kriya Shema, so we talked about Kriya Shema itself. What about the blessings leading up to Kriya Shema? So here we have a machlokas. L'da'as rov haposkim rak lagabe tefillah hekilu she'efshel hashim al katzos. According to most poskim, only as far as Shemoneh Esreh goes do we allow you to finish it up until Chatzos. Mipnei she'ikaron rishoi adam l'spal b'chol eis tefillah Shemoneh Esreh ketfilas nedava. Because at the outset, a person can say Shemoneh Esreh is what's called a Tefilas Nedava, as a makeup, as a pledge. So therefore, in any case of doubt, he can daven. However, Kriya Shema does not have that allowance to daven as a Tefilas Nedava. And therefore, if you've already passed the B'diavad time of 4 hours, then you can no longer say the brachas of Kriya Shema. However, others hold, let's say you didn't say them, not because you were careless or you overslept, but there was a real onus. You had a situation that you couldn't control. Then you could say it, at least Kriya Shema, even up until Chatzos. And some members of the Ashkenazi community follow this way. He quotes the Bir Halacha here in Siman Nun Ches, very, very long note. Moral of the story is always try to go to daven on time and try and daven with a minyan. And with that, we'll finish our beginning of the week. Again, please continue davening for Chaylei Tzvah G'nai Yisrael, for Shlomo Chol B'Tzvah Yisrael, and the safe return of our hostages, and the Nishmat and Daniel, Shimon Ben Arav, Daron V'Sheli, Hashem Yakam Damo. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you here next time. Have a great day.